Hey everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. I really wasn't going to touch the Karmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf situation, but I'm going to go ahead and chime in. This isn't going to be long. I will say two lives have been ruined, one permanently, the other one, both are permanent, but when you're dead, that's permanent. Now, my understanding, Karmelo went into the tent of an opposing school. They asked him to leave, and he had a chip on his shoulder, decided not to leave, and got into an altercation. Now, here's where I'm going to have an unpopular opinion. I grew up around white people. First, let me make this clear. I don't agree with deleting people at all. But I know that white people like to be the police of everybody. They think that they could tell everybody who does not look like them what they should do and what they should be doing. And then mix that with a black person who already has a chip on their shoulder. That's a bad combination. So instead of Karmelo just taking the L and walking out of there, he ruined his life forever, and he, deleted the young man. Remember, if you ever watched the movie Friday, when John Witherspoon's character said back in his day, young men would resolve something by a fist fight. But nowadays, these young kids want to bring, a weapon to the fight. And I don't agree with fighting either, but I'm not a male full of testosterone. Years ago, Karmelo might have punched a guy in his face, and maybe he would have got his butt handed to him. But the young man would probably still be alive today, and Karmelo would be on his way to college right now. This was a senseless act. And do I agree with the 35 years? There should be consequences. He took somebody's life. Now he's saying it was self-defense. And yes, I know. If the shoe were on the other foot, the white jurors would have let that Metcalf boy go if he had been the one to unalive a black person. We know this. Unfortunately, we live in a unfair world where a lot of times we as black people, we have to be a step above, in order to get somewhere in life. We can't always act on emotions, especially when dealing with those people, because they look for reasons to, want to kind of pick at you and then get your reaction. Either way, it's a sad situation for both families. I'm not on either side. I'm not going to be on Karmelo's side because he's black, and I'm not on Austin's side because he's white. I'm down the middle. I said 2 lives were ruined. And the fact that black people are losing their sugar honey iced tea in the streets over this is, it's already, you got some white people in this country who are already itching for a race war. And the black community it will never be ready for something like that, because we're too emotional and we don't have foresight. And black people will destroy their own communities, whereas white people would be strategic in their quote unquote attack. Hopefully there is no race war, but never holding the black community accountable for anything is how we get to situations like this. just as an outsider looking on, Karmelo had a chip on his shoulder. And I'm not going to say that Austin and his twin brother wasn't being aggressors. They probably were. I personally believe they were. But sometimes you have to take an L and just walk away. But again, I'm not a male. That seems to be hard for some males to do. You know, they want to show how tough they are, but instead it went too far and a life was taken. And that's my short opinion on the situation. It's too heavy. And I know, you know, people are going to come at me sideways, possibly. I don't care. I said what I had to say. I stand on it, and I'll talk to you later.